October 2015, CIA headquarters, Virginia. CIA Director John Brennan receives a phone call. The caller sounds like a kid, and the kid says something unbelievable. I've hacked into the entire CIA. To anyone else, this would have been dismissed as a prank. But this wasn't just anyone. This was the director of the most powerful intelligence agency in the world. Reaching him was nearly impossible. Even knowing his number was a feat in itself. This is the true story of two kids who hacked into the CIA's systems and shocked the American government. Who were they? How did they do it? And more importantly, why? When officials asked the hacker what he wanted, his response shocked them. The United States must stop its attacks in the Middle East, especially in Palestine. Let the world live in peace. But what's even more shocking is that before this phone call, the CIA had already realized their systems had been breached. And this wasn't just any breach, it was massive. The kind that could cripple intelligence operations and expose national secrets. You'll soon understand just how dangerous this hack was, not just for the CIA, but for the entire American government. When the call ended, panic followed. Shock waves rippled through the highest levels of power. Why? Because the person behind the breach was just a kid. For an agency like the CIA, known for being untouchable, this was more than just a hack. It was an embarrassment. It was shameful. Because even the CIA admits, if their agents' identities are exposed, they consider it a complete operational failure. And here's how seriously they take security. Inside the CIA headquarters in Virginia, there's a Starbucks branch. But this isn't like your normal Starbucks. It doesn't allow names to be written on the cups. There's no Starbucks logo, no personal identifiers, nothing that can be traced back to a CIA agent. That's how cautious they are. So imagine the impact when a kid, using just a phone and a laptop, managed to break into their system. That tells you everything about how big this breach really was. The call that triggered it all came from England, thousands of miles away from American soil. Behind that voice was a 15-year-old kid from the quiet town of Leicester. Online, he called himself Cracka. But Cracka wasn't just another teenager messing around on the internet. He was the mastermind behind a notorious hacking group known as Crackas With Attitude. And this group wasn't in it for fame or fortune. They were about to carry out one of the most daring cyber attacks in U.S. history. Because they didn't just hack anyone. They hacked the CIA. But why? And how? To understand that, we need to go back to 2008, the year when it all began. There was a boy named Default who loved playing video games. Like many kids, he wanted to win. But instead of just getting better at the game, he took a different route. He began modifying the game's code to change its rules. The game was Counter-Strike, and Default was creating cheats to gain an unfair advantage. What's interesting is that he figured this all out on his own, just by reading things online. In 2008, he came across information shared by a hacker group known as Anonymous, a group that was constantly in the news back then. Anonymous was famous for hacking major websites and leaving behind messages of their own on them. Watching Anonymous in action deeply inspired Default. He was fascinated, and from that moment, he knew he wanted to go deeper into the hacking world. So he started small. Default began hacking minor websites just to learn and experiment. But soon, small hacks weren't enough. He wanted to do something big. And for that, he needed more than just skills. He needed a group. That's when Default joined a hacker collective called AnonSec. This group had already been involved in hacking websites, mainly for political purposes. The AnonSec group was using a botnet, which means they were creating and spreading viruses across the internet. Any computer infected by their virus became part of their control network. These infected computers, known as bots, collectively formed what's called a botnet. As a member of the AnonSec group, Default also had access to this botnet. During his exploration, he noticed that one of the infected computers belonged to a medical college in Canada. After researching it further, he managed to access the financial records stored on that system. Default discovered that medical college was holding nearly $9 million in student dues. He gained access to the system and deleted all financial records, completely disrupting the institution's operations. This marked his first successful hack, done purely for fun, but the second hack happened in anger. In 2014, Denmark passed a controversial and widely condemned law that allows having sex with animals. Animal rights activists were outraged, and so was Default, who deeply loved his pet dog. Furious, he coordinated with his group to hack the official Danish government website. In bold letters, they posted a shocking message. Do you know your government allows sex with animals? Still not satisfied, Default deployed the AnonSec botnet to hijack major websites that had shown any support for the law, spreading awareness and outrage globally. The campaign sparked international condemnation, and eventually the Danish government bowed to the pressure and repealed the law. Although Default had achieved his goal, the credit went to Anonymous, the well-known hacktivist group dominating headlines at the time. This unexpected turn deeply disappointed him, but it didn't stop him. He chose to keep pushing forward with his mission. Default didn't want to reveal his identity like other hackers often did. He knew that if the government ever traced him, the consequences would be severe. That's why he avoided using regular Wi-Fi or any easily tracked internet connection. Instead, he went to great lengths, setting up a satellite internet connection far from his home and running a private wired network. He was extremely cautious. His computer was powerful but heavily encrypted and modified, so much so that it took 30 minutes just to start up. So far, you've met two key characters: Cracka, who lived in England, and Default, who lived in the US. Before 2013, they didn't know each other, but one global event would soon bring them together. Enter Edward Joseph Snowden, a name that changed the world of surveillance and cybersecurity forever. Snowden was working as a computer intelligence consultant for the National Security Agency, NSA. During his time there, he uncovered something disturbing. The CIA and NSA were collecting massive amounts of private data from everyday users, without their knowledge or consent. It wasn't just for national security, it was being misused for other purposes. Snowden knew that exposing this truth while still in the US could cost him his freedom or even his life, so he fled to Hong Kong. There, he met with journalists and revealed the truth to the world. The leaks sparked global outrage. People were furious with the CIA and the US government for invading their privacy. Among those outraged were Cracka and Default. For the first time, they connected with a shared mission: to take down the CIA for its misuse of public data. Cracka and Default had one goal: to get back at the US government. Default's motive was personal. He wanted revenge against the CIA for collecting public data without consent. Cracka, on the other hand, was angry over US attacks on Palestine and wanted to retaliate. Their enemy? The US intelligence system. Their first move was bold. They leaked the phone number of James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence. The number was suddenly available for anyone to find on Google. Next, they set their sights higher, on CIA Director John Brennan. Cracka began researching and found Brennan's public phone number, which was registered with Verizon, a major American mobile network. He then called Verizon's internal tech team, pretending to be a Verizon employee. He claimed he was fixing an issue in their system and needed to help a customer, Brennan. Verizon asked for a PIN code to verify identity, but Cracka had already hacked that. With successful verification, Verizon gave Cracka John Brennan's personal information: his phone number, address, account number, and even the last 4 digits of his bank account. Next, Cracka went after Brennan's email. He discovered Brennan was using AOL instead of Gmail or Yahoo. Cracka called AOL customer support, pretending to be Brennan, and claimed he forgot his password. When asked to verify his identity, he used the last 4 digits of Brennan's bank account, which he already had. It worked. He gained access to the personal email account of the CIA director. Inside the inbox, he found sensitive CIA data, contact details of other agents, private government communications, and classified instructions. By the time Brennan realized his email was compromised, it was too late. Cracka had already downloaded everything. Soon after, Cracka began leaking the documents publicly, one by one. The CIA was globally embarrassed, exposed, and shamed. The pressure to arrest the hackers became urgent, but US agencies had no clue where to start. And then Cracka did something even more explosive. He leaked the identities of 9,000 Department of Justice employees and 20,000 FBI agents. While Cracka lived like nothing happened, confident he couldn't be caught, Default, who lived in the U.S., was growing paranoid. Depressed and under the influence, he made a critical mistake. He told a friend while using drugs that he had a role in the CIA hack. That was the end. A few days later, both were arrested. During the investigation, their real names were exposed. Cracka was Kane Gamble, a teenager from the UK. Default was Justin Gray Liverman from the US. Because of his age, Kane Gamble received 2 years in prison. Justin, who wasn't directly involved in the CIA email hack, but was involved in other attacks, got 5 years. Today, both are out of jail and are reportedly working in cybersecurity. What do you think? Were they right or wrong? Comment below.